It's Saturday, June 7th. This is James Spann with an update on the severe weather situation. We've anticipated a line of severe storms this afternoon. Those storms are in the process of moving into the northwest corner of Alabama. And we are live at 12:38 this afternoon. And in advance of the line of storms, we have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect now for most of Lauderdale, all of Colbert, all of Franklin, all of Marion, all of Lamar, all of Fayette counties in northwest Alabama, and the far western part of Lawrence County for this line of storms that is in the process of moving into the state. And so far, the storms have been relatively behaved over North Mississippi, but of course, we've had time for the heating process to do its thing, and the air has become rather unstable across North Alabama. And these storms will be capable of producing strong, potentially damaging straight-line winds. And that will be the main concern today. We just don't have any concern about tornadoes. The wind profiles don't favor that. We are out of tornado season, but understand within this line, we might see a few spots where the winds maybe could gust as high as 60, 70 miles per hour. So what we'll do is put on the velocity and take a look at these really quick. And again, some of the higher wind velocities are down here coming through Amory, Mississippi. In fact, you can see that we've got some velocities here in the 40, 50, 60 mile per hour bracket. And this is only 600 feet away from the radar site, 600 feet off the ground, and that the radar beam is pretty close to the actual site itself. So most likely that is reaching the ground. The velocities are not as extreme to the north, but again, right in through here, this segment, which is in the process of pushing into parts of Lamar County, Sulligent, Vernon, Millport, Kennedy, just be aware that the winds could really, really pack a punch, clearly enough to bring down trees and power lines. And again, the southern part of Marion County and the northern half of Lamar County will likely see the greatest impact from these stronger winds as they push into northwest Alabama. And again, the higher velocities will likely be impacting this Highway 17 stretch initially from near Hamilton right down through Sulligent, Vernon, and down to Millport. So again, while we've got a lot of warnings in effect, and these are all severe thunderstorm warnings, the greatest potential of really significant tree power line wind damage would be Hamilton down to Millport, much of Lamar County up into southern Marion County. And again, as we go up the line, the velocities are not as extreme with the segment pushing into the northwestern corner of the state. Still, having said that, if you're in the Shoals, Russellville, Red Bay, again, you could see winds gusting to 45, maybe 50 miles an hour, although the velocities don't seem as extreme on that end of the line. But again, it will be certainly windy, a lot of thunder, a lot of lightning, and so many things are happening outdoors on a day like today. The encouragement is this: lightning is also a big issue. All of these storms are packing tremendous amounts of cloud-to-ground lightning, and they could certainly, that could be a problem. And you know the old saying, when thunder roars, go indoors. And obviously for folks that have an outdoor event in progress today, the first time you hear thunder, that's the time to get in, whether it's baseball, whether it's some type of outdoor event. There's so many things happening today, festivals and all this. But lightning is pretty dangerous stuff with these summer storms. They can pack thousands of ground strokes in no time at all. So forget the 8-mile rule. Just when you hear thunder, get in. And we note that Chickasaw County, Mississippi, about half the population is now without power. And again, we'll check some of the power maps here in just a second. But again, that is a sign of the intensity of this line of storms coming through northeast and eastern Mississippi. So there is high potential for widespread tree and power line damage as the line segment comes through, especially through southern Marion and Lamar counties, and ultimately into counties to the east. And again, as you work your way north, the line segment coming into the Shoals, it's not as strong. Again, it's no doubt you'll have gusty winds, a lot of rain, thunder, and lightning, but the evidence of damaging wind is much, much, much lower around Florence, the Shoals, Sheffield, Tuscumbia, Waterloo, places like that. But still, there are warnings in effect there, severe thunderstorm warnings. The greater concern, it's where the air is a little more unstable down to the south. Parts of Marion, Lamar, and Fayette counties where the warnings are in effect down there. So, again, one of the encouragements we want to share is to be sure and pay attention to severe thunderstorm warnings. And we talked about that on the live stream this morning. A lot of people don't, and I understand that. We have too many warnings. Just too many warnings are issued. I totally understand that. And we as a weather enterprise have to be better at reducing false alarms, especially on the severe thunderstorm side. But on a day like today, you just might want to read the warnings carefully, listen to the warnings on your weather radio or whatever device you're using to get them. And again, you will hear specifics about the type of damage that can be expected and things like that. So again, just the encouragement today is to be sure and pay attention to severe thunderstorm warnings. So if you're just joining us, we do have a severe thunderstorm watch, we should mention, for about the northern half of Alabama. That's in effect until 6 o'clock tonight. In fact, we'll toss it up on the board here in just a second. But in advance of the line, we have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect now for much of Lauderdale, all of Colbert, all of Franklin, all of Marion, all of Lamar, and all of Fayette counties in northwest Alabama and the far western part of Lawrence County. As the line of storms continues to sweep in. And we'll go back to the velocities, and this kind of tells the story. Velocities have come down a little bit, which is good. But again, let's start to the north and take a look at the storms coming into Lauderdale, Colbert, and Franklin. And again, we're seeing 25 to 35 mile per hour winds, and the radar beam is 4,300 feet off the ground here. So down at the surface, the winds, I don't think will be at severe criteria for northwest Alabama. That again, Lauderdale, Colbert, Franklin at this point, based on the radar wind velocity data we're seeing here, I would say down at the surface, winds are probably gusting. Well, there's a 47 right there, and there's a 52 in Colbert County, and again, that is at 3,700 feet off the ground. So 53 mile per hour winds, 3,700 feet. That probably equates to 40, 45 down at the surface. So we're going to see some 40, 45 mile per hour winds through parts of Lauderdale, Colbert, and Franklin counties, the counties right here. But the higher velocities continue to be down to the south, with the line segment coming into southern Marion and Lamar counties. And again, we'll take a look at some of the numbers down here. You can see right around the radar site, we're getting winds over 50 miles per hour. And again, there's a 51, 52, 53 mile per hour right at the radar site. That's basically at ground level. And again, that means that we probably got a lot of wind damage going on here in Monroe County, Mississippi, Chickasaw County, Mississippi. And again, based on data from Chickasaw County, Mississippi, they're 51% without power right now. Half the population has no power in Chickasaw County, Mississippi, based on the velocity and the wind that's come through there. And again, those higher wind velocities are right in through here, and they will be coming through parts of Marion and Lamar counties, and then as they continue moving east, ultimately affecting counties like Fayette and Winston and Walker. But let's kind of expand this out and talk about a timeline here, kind of show a larger view, and you can kind of see the different population centers. Of course, the storms are coming into the shoals now here at 1247. And again, I would suggest they will be in the vicinity of Huntsville around 1:30 to 2 o'clock this afternoon. Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, Gadsden, probably around 3 to 4 o'clock this afternoon. Maybe a little sooner than that. And then ultimately Anniston, Talladega, Roanoke, Sylacauga, 5, 6 o'clock this evening. And again, I would imagine it's going to be a situation where we'll see a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings issued. And again, if you're just joining us, we don't expect an issue with tornadoes. Today, the wind profiles just don't favor that. This is summertime. About the only time in the summer, June, July, August, you can have tornadoes is when there's an landfalling tropical system, like a tropical storm or hurricane, and occasionally you will get small spin-up tornadoes in the spiral bands around these tropical systems. But this is no tropical system. This is a mid-latitude system. It's a short wave on the southern edge of the westerlies here. And again, this originated actually back in parts of Oklahoma and Arkansas early this morning, and it's just kept on trucking, and it's going to keep on trucking through North Alabama into northern Georgia here. And again, this will be out of the state this evening, and the high-resolution models have been suggesting that a second line could possibly form and affect parts of the state late tonight into tomorrow, especially tomorrow morning, and then by late afternoon, most of it moves out. In fact, I would suggest for a pretty good chunk of the state, a decent part of the day tomorrow could be dry, with a better chance of any thunderstorms during the morning hours. But again, once we get this first batch out of here, we can focus on what's to come. Thought we would look at the severe thunderstorm watch. This is the watch that's in effect until 6 o'clock this evening. And you can see the severe thunderstorm watch is as far south as Pickens, Tuscaloosa, Jefferson, Shelby, Talladega, Clay, and Randolph counties, and counties north, the counties in yellow on that map, up into parts of southern Middle Tennessee. And the watch is in effect until 6 o'clock. Again, if you're in South Alabama, there could be some spotty showers, of course. It's a summer day. But in terms of this big organized thunderstorm mass, the greater concern will be over the northern half of the state and the counties in yellow there. And again, that's verified pretty nicely on the radar. And out ahead of the line, we've got these individual showers and storms forming, and some of those might produce some small hail. Again, we're not concerned about tornadoes today. But for the showers and storms forming ahead of the line, we might see possibly some small hail. I've really heard of no major large hail reports so far. Looking at the various reports we're seeing here. Getting some reports of trees on homes in Okolona, Mississippi with this line, which would make a lot of sense. And again, this is an example of what is to come for the northern part of Alabama. Got a report from Lee County, Mississippi, widespread tree and power line damage, no injuries to report at this time. Again, that is Lee County, Mississippi. And that seems to be a very common theme with this line. A lot of trees and power lines that have been taken down. And it's going to be that kind of a day. And just understand you might be without power for a while. If you are in the path of these storms. And let's see here. I'll drop in just one quick photo coming out of Okolona, Mississippi, and this will show what the storms have been doing, and this is what they will probably do into the northern part of Alabama today. And again, just on a logistical note here, we'll be kind of transitioning from what I'm doing here over to the ABC 3340 live streams. Riley Blackwell is here, and we'll be kind of going with that here soon. I just wanted to kind of come on here as this thing starts and just make a few important points for what to expect for the rest of the afternoon. But it's always good, always to follow both again, I'm simulcasting on Facebook and YouTube, and they're doing the same thing on 3340, but subscribe to both, to my Facebook and YouTube, you're watching this now, and to the ABC 3340 Facebook page and YouTube channel, and when we shift over there, you can watch the coverage there. But again, I just wanted to just kind of talk your way through the beginning of this whole thing. If you're just joining us, we have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect, really from the Shoals down to Fayette and Millport. This would include most of Lauderdale, all of Colbert, Franklin, Marion, Lamar, Fayette counties. That's a severe thunderstorm warning for the line of storms that is rolling through. The greatest wind concern, it's over the part of the line that is coming into Marion and Lamar counties, right in through here. It just seems that the velocities are not as high to the north, up toward Russellville, the Shoals. Understand, if you're in Florence, you might see winds gusting to maybe 40, 45 miles an hour. There's just no evidence on radar the winds are stronger than that, as the storms are weaker there. The really good core of this is down to the south, and again through Marion, northern Lamar County, then back into the Golden Triangle down towards Starkville, Mississippi. And all of this is moving to the east-southeast. And again, that will be coming into Fayette County, Winston County, Walker County, ultimately Tuscaloosa and Birmingham a little later this afternoon. And in a situation like this, it could produce some pretty widespread tree and power line damage. We've seen that back in Mississippi with the line. And what's happened, the air in Alabama has become pretty unstable. We've had a chance to warm up. We've got temperatures in the upper 80s, some spots approaching 90. And that instability is certainly not going to help with these storms. It will make them, if anything, stronger as they come through here this afternoon. So again, the encouragement is to pay good, close attention to severe thunderstorm warnings this afternoon, as the most of the damage we're going to see, the tree and power line damage, is going to be the product of strong straight line winds. And again, within the text of the severe thunderstorm warnings, you'll be able to kind of determine the magnitude of the threat this afternoon. And the greatest concern, it's tree and power line damage. And again, I'm afraid we're going to see a good bit of power outage problems across the northern half of Alabama this afternoon. And again, watching all the social channels here, what I'm doing, and again, we're so thankful for the images that you send us. It really helps us kind of verify what's on the ground. Remember, the radar beam goes in a straight line. The Earth is curved, so as the radar beam gets farther away from the radar antenna, the beam is higher off the ground. And to know what's actually happening on the ground, we need visual reports. And again, what we're getting is extremely helpful. In most everything we're seeing, it involves tree and power line damage. So let's look at some of the velocities again coming off the radar. We're live at 12:55. This is James Spann. I'm at ABC 3340. Again, Riley Blackwell is here with me, and I will be joining him on the 3340 stream here shortly. But let's go and take a look at the actual velocities within the line. And again, we're seeing 45 to 55 mile per hour velocities, and that's only about 800 to 900 feet off the ground. The radar, this is the Columbus Air Force Base radar, which is right across the Alabama-Mississippi state line. So again, the wind velocities would pretty much represent what you might get down at the surface. And again, we're seeing a lot of gusts up to 45, 50 miles an hour in through here, and that could easily produce some tree and power line damage. And again, there's the greatest concern for the stronger winds from Hamilton right down through Sulligent, ultimately coming into Vernon. And those stronger winds, of course, will keep on moving south and east down toward Guin, Winfield, Hubbardsville, and Fayette. And that's the reason Fayette County is involved in the warning. And again, if you notice, there's just gobs of cloud-to-ground lightning with this. And these storms are producing hundreds of ground strokes. And again, obviously, we advise folks to not be outdoors. Just lightning is frightening. Quite frankly, in a situation like that, this might be the most deadly threat with so many things happening outdoors this afternoon. All right, so let's take a look at things. The line of storms now stretches from Florence and the Shoals. And again, it's much weaker up in Lauderdale and Colbert counties. I know the weather's not good, and maybe weak is not a good word, but quite frankly, they just don't seem to be at severe limits. Remember, to be technically severe, the winds have to be 58 miles per hour or greater, or hail 1 inch in diameter or larger for a warning to verify. And I just don't see much evidence of that up in the Shoals. The intensity increases down to the south, where, again, the air is more unstable. And, again, this segment right in through here, through Hackleburg down to Hamilton and Sulligent, that seems to be where the higher velocities are currently concentrated. And those higher wind velocities will be moving towards the east-southeast down toward Guin, Winfield, Brilliant, Sulligent, ultimately places like Hubbardsville, Fayette, Eldridge, Carbon Hill, Lynn. So again, just be aware that this could be enough, and this is straight line winds. It could be enough to knock down some trees and power lines. And I say this a lot, but it's true. Listen, if a tree falls on your house, does it matter whether it's a small tornado or straight line winds? You just need to be sheltered. And for those of you with those higher velocities, again, you might just want to be in a place in your house, kind of like a tornado warning. Small interior room, and kind of getting away from windows in case a tree does come down. Pine trees don't do very well with these kind of things. We all know that. And Alabama's full of pine trees. And you don't want one coming crashing through a window and you're standing by that window. So, again, the good thing about it, this is a one and done, really, in this situation. We'll probably have another line of storms developing later tonight, but the severe potential for those is rather iffy because the air will be worked over by what's going on here this afternoon. So again, we're at 12:58, coming up on 1 o'clock. We have a line of strong to severe storms, as expected, pushing into northwest Alabama. The storms are capable of producing strong winds and some hail, and that will be sweeping rapidly through the northern half of Alabama tonight. The greater chance of any impact from this line of storms will be basically north of a line from Tuscaloosa to Sylacauga to Roanoke. If you're in South Alabama, in fact, let me show you the radar in South Alabama. It's a beautiful day. I mean, nothing. It's gorgeous. And that's the messaging we tried to present. You know, sometimes people look at the apps and they see these thunderbolts and little cartoon pictures of storms, and you just think it's going to rain all day everywhere. No, it doesn't work that way. South Alabama's in great shape. The Gulf Coast, great shape. Beautiful day today. The problems, the northern half of the state. So again, we'll go back, and there's the line itself. And the southern extent of that line, again, will probably impact Tuscaloosa, Calera, Sylacauga, Ashland, Lineville, Roanoke. But south of that, you might receive no rain at all. The severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect for Marion, Fayette, Lamar, that's until 1:30. And again, in the text of that warning, the Weather Service has specifically mentioned potential for 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. And again, that's almost hurricane force. That could certainly produce a lot of damage. And also there could be some hail involved. I've seen no specific reports of hail, but there could be some involved. But based on the radar cores, I would suggest if we have hail, it's probably a smaller size. The line is moving pretty rapidly to the east at 55 miles per hour. And again, this is the kind of day where you want to pay attention to these severe thunderstorm warnings, and that so many events are happening outdoors. And remember, thunder, when you first hear it, that's the time to get in. Don't wait. These things pack just tremendous amounts of cloud-to-ground lightning here. And again, so far so good. I've seen no specific reports of damage for any of the counties in northwest Alabama. Again, we'll stop the animation. Let's look at the velocity one more time. Again, numbers are coming up a little bit. Now, keep in mind, right up and through here in Colbert, but remember, we are now getting a little higher up within the radar beam. We are at 4,800 feet up, and we've got some 50-mile-per-hour winds. There's 54. This is southwest of Florence and the Shoals at 4,700 feet off the ground. And down at the surface, winds are probably in the 40 to 45-mile-per-hour bracket. So again, for the line segment coming through Lauderdale, Colbert, Franklin, I would suggest down at the surface, you probably got winds gusting to 40, 45, and there might be a 50-mile-per-hour gust in spots. But of course, to be technically severe, the winds have to be up to 58. But again, the higher velocities are coming into the shoals. And again, that's aloft. Remember, when you're looking at these radar velocities, that is not down at the surface. That's, in this case, again, about 5,000 feet off the ground. But no doubt it's going to be a gusty batch of storms coming through the shoals in Russellville. And then ultimately it's going to sweep across the Tennessee Valley, Athens, Decatur, Huntsville, Scottsboro. But it just seems like the higher velocities are down to the south down here. In fact, they are clearly on the radar right in through here, coming through Guin, Sulligent, and Vernon. And again, that line segment moving to the east-southeast, and that'll be coming on through Winfield, Brilliant, Hubbardsville, Fayette, Millport, Kennedy, Berry, Eldridge, Carbon Hill. And we note now we have new severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for all of Winston and all of Walker. So again, as we are speaking here, we have a severe thunderstorm warning for Winston and Walker counties. And I would imagine that just about every county in the path of this line will be placed under a warning today. So it's going to be that kind of a day. But again, the Weather Service in Birmingham now posting severe thunderstorm warnings for Winston and Walker County for potential for winds gusting up to 70 miles an hour. And again, that's almost at hurricane force. Again, there's the higher velocities on radar right here, coming down through here. The velocities are not as high to the north, which is good. Still, I would expect if you're in, again, anywhere up and down Highway 43, Florence down to Russellville, Phil Campbell, you could see winds of gusting to maybe 40, 45 miles an hour. But those higher velocities are down to the south. So in terms of the counties involved in the warnings, and again, these are all severe thunderstorm warnings. That's what we're going to have today. The warnings are in effect for parts of Lauderdale, Colbert, Franklin, Marion, Lamar, Fayette, Winston, and Walker. And again, the line continues to push rapidly to the east. The one thing about it, these are moving along pretty quickly at 55 miles an hour. And there are no traffic lights in the upper atmosphere. They're not going to stop for lights. They're not going to stop to go to the bathroom. This line of storm's going to keep on trucking. And it'll move rapidly across the state this afternoon. And again, we'll have a nice break in this, probably for several hours this evening. And then there's potential for a second line that will be forming tonight, then dropping south into South Alabama tomorrow morning. And the atmosphere will be really worked over by this. And let's also mention another warning just issued. This is going to be for northern Pickens County for the same line. Obviously, every county in the line will be under a severe thunderstorm warning today. So again, we have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect now for northern Pickens. So what we're going to do here is make a little shift, and we're going to ask you, and I know it's inconvenient here, but it's just a logistical thing. What we're going to do is shift away from this stream over to the stream that is on ABC 3340's YouTube channel and Facebook page. And we'll be doing the same thing over there. And we'll be able to attack this with a little more resources and a few more people. And again, before we go, let me check one more time for any late reports coming in. And so far, so good. I'm not seeing any specific damage reports over west or northwest Alabama. We've seen a whole bunch of them over northeastern Mississippi, but not that many so far. And typically, if something happens, I'll know about it, but so far, so good. But again, just understand with this line of storms as it sweeps eastward this afternoon, this will be capable of producing strong straight-line winds that might, in spots, reach up to 60, 70 miles an hour. It would seem like the greater possibility of the really stronger winds will be south of US 278 today. That's where the air is more unstable. But still, if you're in Athens, Huntsville, Scottsboro, just pay attention to severe thunderstorm warnings. In fact, everybody should be doing that today. And I would imagine with the history of the line, we're going to have pretty much warnings in effect, severe thunderstorm warnings for every county in the path of this. But again, moving at 55, the worst of this will not last especially long. In fact, you can see already for places like Red Bay and Hamilton, the storms are now east of you and your severe weather threat has ended. That's the kind of deal it's going to be this afternoon. And this should leave the air rain-cooled and stable, and hopefully, again, for a potential second line tonight or tomorrow morning, the severe potential will be somewhat limited. So one more time, let's look at some of the velocities in through here. And just those higher velocities are right in through here. And this is where the winds could be 60, maybe 70 with gusts, not sustained winds. Coming through Hackleburg, Bear Creek, coming into Haleyville, down to Brilliant, Winfield, Vernon. That line, that band of heavier winds with the heavier storms will be coming into Double Springs, Lynn, Eldridge, Carbon Hill, Kansas, Fayette, Berry, Hubbardsville soon. So just kind of batten down the hatches and be in your home. And again, I'm not so sure I'd want to be in a car. Remember, with a falling tree, the car is not the ideal place to be. And if trees are coming down, you just don't want to be driving in something like this. And again, we've got some scattered power outages now starting to show up on the western side of the state as well. And that's the other thing. You might want to plan on maybe the power being out for a little bit this afternoon as the storms come through. In fact, let's quickly look at Mississippi. Mississippi's got 11,623 out. And Alabama has a little over 1,000 out, 1,110. That's the specific number. And that's pretty manageable. We can certainly handle that. But again, I'm afraid the numbers will increase. And most all of those outages are in Lamar and Marion counties. So at this point, we've got 1,110 out in Marion and Lamar. But again, no specific reports of any kind of structural damage or any major problems so far. And we certainly hope it stays that way. But just be very weather aware this afternoon. And again, I will leave this stream up for just a little bit with the radar. In fact, I might come back on. I might pop in here, but we're going to slowly begin to shift away from this stream over to the ABC 3340 stream. So just keep that in mind. And again, we do not expect any tornado warnings today. Typically, we go live for tornado warnings and not necessarily for severe thunderstorm warnings. But again, in this case, with this type of system, we thought it would just be the best thing to do. And one more note here, we do note that we have severe thunderstorm warnings now issued for counties up in the Tennessee Valley in advance of the line. So now we have severe thunderstorm warnings for Lawrence, Limestone, much of Morgan, and northwestern Cullman counties. And again, this is going to be the case as the line sweeps eastward today, but basically all the counties in advance of this will be under some type of warning. So counties under warnings now: Lauderdale, Limestone, Colbert, Lawrence, Morgan, Northwest Cullman, Winston, Franklin, Marion, Walker, Winston, Fayette, Lamar, Pickens. And again, those warnings will continue to be extended on to the east. One thing I've noticed here, it looks like we've got right through here maybe a little comma shape beginning to show up there, a little bookend vortex as we call it. And we'll kind of keep an eye on that. So it looks like an MCV also, a little mesoscale convective vortex. And again, that little, in fact, let me stop the radar here. If you look really carefully within the structure, you can see kind of a comma shape right there. And again, sometimes in that comma head, you can have some problems. So again, I think that's a reason we've got the warnings extended over into the Tennessee Valley. The winds can be pretty brisk within that little MCV up there, that little vortex. And then right down below that, the winds could be pretty strong as well. But it's on a summer June Saturday. A lot of people are outdoors, and let me just also say that a lot of folks are at Smith Lake, which is right here, and of course up on the Tennessee River, which is right up here. There's so many beautiful waterways we have in this state. I would not want to be out on a boat. If you're a mariner on a waterway, especially on the Tennessee River, you just don't want to get involved in this. I would not want to be on a lake or a river with this stuff coming in here. So that's going to do it at the moment. Again, I am going to gradually shift from this stream over to the 3340 stream. I'm going to leave radar up for full screen purposes here. And again, we'll see over on the 3340 stream here in a few minutes. So again, we're going to shift from this stream over to ABC 3340's stream. So we will see you guys shortly on the other side. And again, everybody just pay close attention to severe thunderstorm warnings over the course of the afternoon. And again, I'll leave this radar up running, and we'll see you on the 3340 stream here in a few minutes.